Now to some Egyptian mystery, or at least one mystery. A golden mask of King Tut is making quite a stir, possibly causing conflict between the British and the Egyptian governments. For more on this, we're joined for the first time by producer and resident historian, Dr. Joseph Ricci. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ricci.
Scottie? Glad to be with you.
This is an interesting story. I was talking about it, and you piped up, and I was absolutely stunned. You really do know these artifacts very well. You studied this in school. Tell us, what is actually so special about this piece, and why is there the controversy?
Sure. So this is a bust of King Tut. It's about human size. It's gold, decorated as you would expect, looking like King Tut. Now, King Tut was an Egyptian pharaoh. He ruled about 1,300 years before the birth of Christ. So this artifact is about 3,300 years old. Now, this is King Tut. He was, his tomb was discovered in 1922, excuse me. And he's kind of been the icon of Egypt, you know, walk like an Egyptian, popular culture. Everything Egypt is King Tut. So the Egyptians say that this artifact was stolen from them in the 1970s. World famous auction house, Christies, in England. They say they don't know anything about that. They've got papers saying they bought it legally. It's sold for 4.7 million pounds, $6 million. So now, even though the British ambassador to Egypt said, hold off on the auction, we've got a problem here, and Egypt is now suing, Christie's went ahead with it, $6 million. Somebody owns this piece now.
Well, and how can they authenticate that type of piece? Do we know that this is really from that time period? And how in the world would have it gotten to Christie's without being made sure that it was authentic?
So we definitely know that it was from the period. Archaeologists, researchers can look at it and tell pretty well that it's
not a replica, it's not a fake.
It's not a replica. They would know pretty well. They have research methods telling how it was made, the construction method. So it's definitely from the era of King Tutankhamun. But this is a huge black market deal. Behind arms and drugs, antiquities is the third largest, biggest black market trade in the world. So we're talking billions of dollars every year. So this is a serious problem. We don't know where it came from. If there's also another debate here going on, which is, should these pieces be repatriated to their origin countries? If you look back in the 1920s when this piece was discovered, Egyptian, Roman pieces, Athenian pieces, Greek pieces. The Brits and the French, they're all over the place, taking pieces back to the British Museum, the Louvre. Now, some would say this is looting, and it might be looting, right? Others would say this was at a time period when those countries weren't so developed. They took these artifacts back, they studied them. These are the foundations of archaeology and research, and they were presented in places that are accessible to tourists. Everyone can go and see. But now, for example, the most famous case is the case of the Elgin marbles on top of the Parthenon, the Acropolis, the Parthenon. 15 years ago, the Greeks, they built a brand new museum, and they left open spaces for these marbles, saying, hey, we have the facilities now. Britain, return these pieces to us. Britain has yet to return those.
They have yet to return them?
They have not.
Has there ever been, what's the latest in negotiations?
Going back and forth, the Brits are kind of stonewalling the Greeks. They've got so many pieces.
I mean, what is up with the Brits? They take everybody's, I guess, their historic pieces. Real quick, there is rumors that this piece could be haunted. Is there cursed? I think there's been movies made about it. What's the truth in that?
So we're not looking at a remake of The Mummy here or anything, but the Earl of Carnarvon, the guy who discovered this piece originally, there was this story of a curse around this artifact. He was shaving, he cut a mosquito bite on his neck, it became infected, and 6 weeks after opening the tomb of King Tut, he died. So
that's where it comes from. There might be some, only
be
time will tell. We'll see who's holding it with the British. Thank you so much for joining us and educating us, Dr. Ricci.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.